What's up, everyone? Eric here. Welcome to my channel, Hyper Rare Collectibles. Uh, I don't have a title figured out yet at the time of this recording. You'll see a title when you click on this video. But pretty much, I just want to talk about um, the negative sides of finding cards, raw Pokemon cards to grade. I feel like I don't see a lot of videos of people talking about the process and them taking losses because I took some L's the past few days. Um, and I'm going to show you how and why. But let me just, I'm going to be rambling periodically through this video. But pretty much right now I'm starting a fresh new batch of cards that I want to send out to PSA to grade. I grade through GameStop. And my next submission, I want to hit at least 50, maybe even 60, to be honest. So I'm starting to build up stuff. Not looking for anything in particular. I mean, it's got to be cards that have some type of value in a 10. I'm not going to just send 50-cent crappy cards in, right? Um, uh, IRs, SIRs, full arts, alt arts, stuff like that. That's clean. Um, I'm not trying to spend tons of money either. And right now, I mean, I have a few shows coming up, so that's where hopefully I can at least get a few things in trade or maybe even try to buy. But I do prefer when people want to trade me clean raw singles for like some of my graded slabs, because I can see the raw singles in person and get excellent judgment if it's gradable or not. And plus, if I can turn those raw cards into a 10 or a few tens, then I'm definitely winning. And that just helps me grow my business and not even the business, just like my PC, because I just have more funds to play around with, because when you get tens back, it can increase the value pretty dramatically. So if I'm taking in stuff at trade or even buying, on the market, and I see it in person, it's clean and it comes back at 10, I'm making that all right. But in this particular instance, I don't do shows often. Again, if you have watched my previous videos, so most of the time I find my cards on eBay, or I use like a few online shops. They're legit shop. They have like storefronts in other states. I'm in New Jersey, but one or two of the shops I use are just like in different states. I don't know, on the opposite side of the damn country, like the West Coast or the Midwest, something like that. But anyway, I you know, so I do take losses. Again, I'll the best I can do online is, especially when I'm using like these card shop websites, they use like scanned images for the most part. And I try to I try to just go with the best judgment I can by looking at the computer screen. It's not easy. Sometimes things get mixed up for whitening, but it could be just a lint or debris. But then, that's fine because it could be wiped off. But it's also could be vice versa, where it's not and it's just part of the car, and then I'm screwed. So I'm very particular with what I send in. I try to, grading's expensive. I'm trying to just send the cleanest copies I can and be very strict with this. I'm very strict. Um, and I'm strict, but then I also, on the opposite side of it, I've seen tens, even with new certs, that have whitening on it, and I don't know how these people got tens. And it's never happened to me. I've done about 7 submissions so far, and any card that I had some type of, none of my tens had whitening on it. None of my tens are really clean, and even cards that I've sent that were clean still got nines with no whitening, but the centering was a bit off. So you know, I know it also depends on the grader, but I sent some crappy tens. I'll tell you that much. I'll talk about that more later. Let me get into some of the cards. So I did get some good ones that, to me, they're going in this sleeve here for the when I sent the PSA, that are clean. That came in clean, but with my order, there was also a few ones that I looked through thoroughly, and in person, I noticed that damn, there is whitening. So we'll start with this one, and these are like cool cards. These are the type of cards I like to send in. Not too expensive raw, but cool if you get them in a PSA 10. It's an awesome card. Sending pretty good, not terrible. I would be comfortable still sending this in, but there was some. You're not going to be able to see it most likely, especially with my lighting and the penny sleeve. I'm just going to leave it on, but pretty much there. All these cards I'm going to show. There was like a tiny white speck somewhere in the card. This one actually has the worst one. You can see this in the camera. You see that right there. And I think I just wasn't paying attention perhaps when I purchased it because I would have saw that, or maybe I got that mixed up for it being lint in the image. So yeah, so just for future reference, if I see something like that, I'm just gonna stay away from it. But if I'm buying a car like this on eBay, I can at least message the seller on eBay and have them confirm with me. If that can be wiped off or it's part of the car. So that's one good thing about eBay compared to like an online shop. Um, Now I got these two Bulbasaurs. One's the stamped one, one's not the stamped one. Damn, these penny sleeves like sticking together. So again, they look better on the computer. In person, the left side is a bit thicker. Okay. Um, it's not terrible, but there was also. Cause I'm trying to peek through here. Yeah. So the bottom like two corners had some whitening. You might have to see it, but yeah, there's some whitening. So there goes that. And so for example, so far, let me show you because I have pulled it on my computer. I'm just gonna read off the prices. I don't have it for this particular order, but anyway, I don't know. Whatever the mark price was, I think it was around 20 something for this one. This one was not. This one, I don't know, it was around what 10, I think it was, or 8. It's way less, but than the Bulbasaur. But so look, this one, same thing, has whitening on it. Centering is better than the other one, but that right there, and there was one more card in that order. I think it was like a $75 order, and I'm thinking about like three of them. There was like white specks. So again, already out 70 right there. So I'm just gonna you know list those on eBay. I'll talk about more what I do with the cards anyway. But let me just get through it here. Uh, this Raichu was really nice. I still think the front was nice, but then the back came in and I saw there was a white spot in the corner. So I'm not even gonna bother. I know it is possible for some cards to get tens. Oh, actually, here it is. Let me see. Yeah, so like on that edge right there, you see where my thumb is, the left side? You see there's a white speck. I'm not sending it in. I don't want to risk it. I know there have been people who've gotten tens with like a white dot like that, but I just like think from a customer standpoint, and even myself, like for my PC, I don't want if I'm spending money on a 10, I don't want any white spots or imperfections in the card. If I'm gonna spend that kind of money or trade stuff for a 10, I want a clean copy. And I did get kind of screwed by GameStop, which I'll show you at the end here, with a slab I got off their website. Um, but I'll save that for the end. This one, Hoopa V, cool card. The front is actually pretty nice. And it looked like how I thought it would look when I got it in. Front centering is very good. I would be confident saying that a 10 to me. But then I noticed, let me see, like okay, it's like the top here. There's like a little white dot on the border. You can't see it, and also on the actual edge itself, like you could just see it's just like a little like I don't know defect with it with the edge. So again, I don't know how strict the grader would be, but I'm not gonna risk it. Um, to me, just no point to do more damage. Spend the extra money than I already spent. This Zard, pretty clean in the front, and again, you can't. It's hard to like tell things on the computer or on your phone, whatever you're using to like shop online. If you do, the best is always in person. But I enjoy doing this from my house. It's relaxing, and just got to be careful financially. These aren't super expensive cards, but it does add up if you're buying a bunch. But this border has like a foil issue going on. It's like a little bit of the yellow is chipped here. And then there's just like some whitening on the corners. But same old story. By the way, I am recovering from a little cold the past few days, so if my voice sounds weird, that's the reason. And also, I have I bought like an Amazon mic, like one of these portable ones. So hopefully, like my audio sounds better. It has like a noise cancellation feature. So hopefully, it makes a difference. I don't know. You tell me. But so yeah, so here is like small cards. If those are like pretty much small cards, right? I mean, they're all like under. All those cards are under $40, probably under $30. So I mean, you know, you take an L on those. It is what it is sometimes. Like a card like this, which I rarely do. Usually, I'll take a bigger card in as a trade. I can look at it in person. Because I don't want to spend cash for big cards, and then I'm getting. I'm sorry, so I'm trying not to curse here. Keep it PG rated, but I'm trying. You know, if I'm spending hard earned money, cash, and then I'm getting a card that I'm only getting because I want to. I think it's gonna get a 10, but then it's not when I get it in person. I'm throwing away money. Like this card right here is about $160, and it's not getting a 10. It's way worse in person than I thought it would be. The centering is worse. It's not terrible, but it looks better in the images on the computer. Then also the back itself has whitening. Has whitening like in the bottom left corner and the top right corner. So again, I can tell you right now this ain't getting a 10, and I'm not gonna risk it. And so that's where you have to be careful. You got to be really strict. Uh, you know, so I mean that's why eBay is better. Like all these cards I just showed you was not from eBay; it's from an online card shop. With eBay, at least you would have the chance to message the seller and say, "Hey, can you like remove the card?" Send a nice message. Be polite about it. Most sellers will send you extra photos. Some will just be like, "No, kick rocks." Just look at the images I have. Um, but just ask, "Hey, can you remove the card from the top loader and the penny sleeve and can I get a clear photo of the front and back of the card?" And also, let me know if there's any whining that you can see in the card. And if you still can't see, I try not to be too annoying, but sometimes they'll send me new photos, and the photos they send are still crappy. A lot of people don't take good photos, and then lighting's an issue and things like that. So it's not easy. You just gotta do the best you can. There's tons of cards on eBay too. So if a seller's not gonna work with you or send you photos, just move on. Be polite. Don't start arguing with them. I'll be honest, I argued like a few times with sellers just because they'll give me like a jerk off response when my initial message was polite. I was like, hey, I'm interested in a few cards. Can you just send me a few extra photos, please? Just want to see if there's any whitening in the condition of it. It's hard for me to view on my end. And I think a lot of sellers, a lot of them just don't want to be bothered, and also they don't really maybe understand my point of view that I'm trying, or they don't care about the grading process or whatnot, which I get. There's an argument for both sides, but it's not worth getting into an argument with these people. I mean, it is what it is. They're gonna do whatever they want with their card and sell to whoever they want. So just move on. I mean, there's so many of these cards on eBay that you can find. Okay, there's enough to go around. Trust me. You gotta be patient and be strict. You gotta be strict because a lot of cards have issues. Unfortunately, the print quality is trash. But here's some stuff that I built up over the past, I don't know, 10 days. Like I just started building up my next pile. Nothing like super crazy. I had the holidays coming up, so I'm not trying to like spend tons of money. Uh, but we got Spiro, Bisharp, and these are like cheaper cards. But I had 10, probably around $70. I don't know. I gotta look, but this is a cool card. This one's clean. And even like the stuff I send in, there's a few that minimum I know will be a 9, but I do think have a high chance of getting a 10. And like these three right here, very pretty clean. Um, Charmander here, I mean, very little heavier on the top, but nothing crazy. Still well centered. But I'm pretty sure like these three have like a little tiny white speck somewhere on the back that you can hardly see. Even with the sleeves off, you can hardly see it. So that's the only reason I'm still sending it in because you can't really notice it at all. So I think I still have a high chance of getting 10s on those. I don't even know how to pronounce this one. Milode, whatever the hell. This one is pretty clean. Happy about that. This one I got in the Phantasmal Flames. For now, I'm gonna send it in, but once I do my review, when it's time to actually go to submit these cards, and I submit mine at GameStop, I'll do a double take on the cards I'm gonna send in and see if I take it out. Iona looks pretty. There's no whining. The back is super clean. The front is pretty clean. I know the top is a bit thinner, but I still think I can get a 10 on it. So I'll take a chance on it. And these two, thankfully, are pretty darn clean. These are the most expensive ones, and I got these as well from that card shop that I showed you. I got some of those other ones that weren't as good in person. These looked how they looked exactly in the website for that shop. So, but it's normally like that with that shop. It's not their fault completely. Again, it's just hard when I'm doing it over the computer and not seeing the cards in person. So at least they got these looking pretty good because these are worth good amount of 10. So I think I should be all right. But so yeah, that's the story with that. Just be careful. I use eBay. I use the card shops, the online card shops. I got to start going more to like local stores. I'm just lazy, and I enjoy just doing this stuff in the basement of my house. It's just relaxing and peaceful to me. Just look up cards online. I just gotta be more careful. But before I get to my GameStop slab that I bought, so what happens when I spend this money, right? And because so far right here, I don't know, what's this? This has to be around close, maybe between 200 to $250. I want to say of money that I spent. You know that these cards I was hoping to send in the PSA that had possible 10 chances, which now after review don't. So I'm right. I'm already out 200 some bucks. But it's not a complete loss. It's just a hassle because now I just got to resell them or do something with them. So there's a few options. You can resell them on eBay or Facebook Marketplace. On eBay, I don't mind putting them on there. If I take a hit with the fees, it is what it is. Even if I get most of my money back, that's fine with me. Me losing out 13% or whatever it is on a Pokemon card, I'm not gonna have my house foreclosed on me. You know what I'm saying? Um, Sometimes you gotta take the good with the bad. So it is what it is. But I have a few shows coming up as well. So I can also sell in person or possibly do some trades. So I'll probably throw them up on eBay. And if they sell, they sell. If they don't, I bring them to the show with me and try to move them. But I'll do something where I can just try to make it work in my favor. And if I don't get my money back, I can at least try to trade for something that's clean. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I'm trying to be strict. I am trying, but you're gonna take L's for sure if you do this. Not everything you're gonna get in the mail is gonna be as clean as you see online. Not 100% of the time. I'll tell you that much. So you do the best you can. But and do what you can afford. Like that Jolteon, I would normally never do something like that. I would only do it if I take it in as a trade because it was like 160 bucks, as I mentioned, and that's pretty expensive for me to just buy outright. Like I don't like doing that. Um, I like to buy cards like around 50 bucks or less, to be honest, with my own money. That's clean to send in for grading. So me doing that kind of took a bit of a risk, and it's worked out for me before at that shop because I bought a few expensive cards from there. The Reshiram in the last video I posted, the return, and that I bought for 200 bucks from them, and it got a 10. It was very clean when it came in. So it was a Reshiram from I forget what set. It was the new one, either White Flare. I think yeah, White Flare, that one. Not the big boy, but the one like right under it. Um, the I think it's the SIR or whatever the hell it's called. But anyway, yeah, it's hit or miss. So just be careful. It's gonna happen. Do what you can afford. So now here's the GameStop story. So I like to. I think I mentioned in my last videos, but when I get a return back, I like to trade in a bunch of slabs. I wouldn't call them junk slabs necessarily, but just either slabs that aren't selling for me at shows, or slabs that come back a 9 and have some type of value. I'll just even some tens, to be honest. I'll just trade them all to store credit for GameStop and just try to pick up a big slab for my PC that I'm starting to build out. Um, and, and I'm trying to build out all the 151 like starter Pokemon and their evolutions. So obviously Squirtle, Charmander, Bulbasaur. Excuse me. Uh, my throat was getting dry, but anyway. So I got this Blastoise, and one thing I noticed on GameStop's website, you got to be careful. Make sure you zoom in on all the cards if you can, because man, a lot of their slabs, and this is my whole point here, is that a lot of their tens are like jacked up, even new certifications, and people say, oh yeah, PSA got stricter, but and look, I never had this luck. I try to send the cleanest cards I can to GameStop. I try to look for zero whitening, but so many tens on GameStop's website, PSA slabs have whitening on the front, on the back. It's insane to me, and I'm like, wow, I never had this luck. But the point is this: this was like $450 on GameStop's website, and I bought it with credit, just from other slabs, um, which I prefer doing that way. Obviously, I don't want to spend that amount of cash. And again, it's on the computer. I can't see everything, so I'm noticing now there's like a little white dot. Sorry, I'm not even. I'm like looking at it, but not even putting it on the camera. Like a little white dot there. Very. And I'm very picky, and plus for my PC, so that's just me. Maybe some people don't care, but I'm just really picky and OCD with this stuff. Little white dot there, hardly noticeable, but the centering is very clean on this one. It's a 129 cert. But the problem is the back. Look at this right there. And it looks worse in person, but I mean, I know it's not terrible, terrible. That right there, in person, you can see it clear as day, and it's just even for me as like a seller, if I'm getting something graded and I want to put it in my display case as a show and at a show, and I know it's a 10, I don't want to. I want to sell someone a clean card, especially when it's coming from me. I want to have the reputation of, yeah, he has super clean cards. Go to him to buy him. I don't want to really. I don't know. I don't expect people to spend money on a 10 or even trade cards for a 10 that has whitening on it or dots on the back. Like, I just feel, one, this is for my PC, so I want to have the cleanest 10s possible. And two, if I ever did have to sell it or move it in the future for whatever the reason is, I feel like I would have a harder time, or people might lowball me just because there is a white speck on the back. Now, I don't know if that's just me and my OCD with this stuff, or if people really care that much about it. But overall, the front is pretty good, really good. It's just the back has that dot. And I went to GameStop, and so apparently there's no returns or exchanges on slabs. They called their customer support, and that's what they told them. And also, like, I was able to like input the order number and try to start a return, like somewhere through GameStop's website, and it said pretty much slabs are not eligible to be returned or refunded. Because the only thing I was just looking to get my store credit back on a gift card, so I could just pick out a different slab on their website, but I wasn't able to do that. So now I'm stuck with this, and I don't know if I should just keep it or just try to sell it at eBay or a show. Because number one, it bothers me. It does. That white dot in the back bother me, and you know, I don't know if it bothers other people. I just try to put myself in other shoes. I would want a super clean car, especially in a 10, because these things are not cheap. So yeah, let me know what you think. Should I just hold on to it, or is it a big deal? Not a big deal? Let me know what you think. And again, you can see it right there. My thumb is that white speck. Yeah, and again, if you go on GameStop's website, check it out yourself. They have cool stuff, but make sure you zoom in. Um, because you can't see a lot of things, and a lot of them have like whitening on the corners and edges, pretty crazy, and they still got tens. And even the centering was pretty terrible on some of them with tens. So I don't know how. I have no idea how they got tens, to be honest, because I don't have that luck one bit. um, so yeah, you know, none everything's perfect in life in this world. So it is what it is, right? But just wanted to talk about that. Excuse me, I'm getting over like a sore throat and stuff, so that's why I sound like nasally. But so yeah, just do your due diligence when if you're looking for raw cards. I'm about to hop on eBay now actually, and try to find some more stuff. I've been asking for a bunch of photos for like the past 2 days, so try not to be too annoying. But a lot of sellers take terrible photos on eBay, so you know, I just need clarity before I start spending more money on more stuff. But all right. Hope you enjoyed the video. I don't want to keep rambling. I could keep going on about eBay and this and that, but yeah. I hope you enjoyed the video. I showed you so far what I got. So hopefully you think those cards are cool. I usually just look for a mixture of things. I have nothing in particular right now. Um, as long as it's not like a dollar card, I don't send no low crap in. You know what I mean? It's got to have some type of PSA 10 value. Um, yeah, so that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the quick video. Let me know how the audio sounds as well, because I was using this mic this time around. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching, guys.